Well, being able to print objects in 3D was once something thought to be out of science fiction.
But here in the corridor, it is a reality. This morning, Josh Scheinblum is live in Iowa City to show us how a 3D printer works. This is really neat. Good morning, Josh.
It is really neat, to say the very least. We are taking a trip this morning over into the future, and we're doing it all in the city of Iowa City. We're doing it with a machine called a 3D printer, and in short, how it works, it scans an object in one area, possibly thousands of miles away. It reproduces it for you just like you would print on a normal two-dimensional printer like you likely have at home. This morning, I'm here with Mike Webb. He is a 3D printer builder who built this all himself, but he had a little help. Now, I think this is going to blow people's minds at home when they figure out how this printer was constructed. How did this come into being?
Well, this machine is a descendant of something called a RepRap, which was an original plan to make self-replicating machines. Maybe you've heard of replicants on Star Trek. I suppose this is the great-great-grandfather, but the idea is to have a machine that replicates itself. If you take a quick peek at this thing, you'll see that a lot of it is made out of the same plastic it prints. So a certain percentage of this machine is self-made. You start looking at these little corner pieces and various other parts. These are actually the pieces for a new print head. So
it's amazing. So the print head here that you're building could actually be used with one of these printers.
absolutely.
And I mean, every little tiny detail, this really can't be underestimated enough here. These are some gears that you could put in anywhere, and they're just as advanced as anything you might find in a normal manufacturing facility.
Absolutely.
How could this change the game here, Mike, in terms of how we live our lives today?
Well, you know, it's interesting. One person was talking about how it changes the whole supply chain. Instead of having manufactured products sent to your home from a facility, you're just going to buy the raw materials. You're going to make it at home. If you need a new hinge for your laptop, if you need a doorknob or a coat hanger, or even a piece for another 3D printer, you're buying this raw material here, and you're going to feed that through the machine, and it's going to make whatever you need within reason.
Absolutely amazing. And my friends, we want to have a little fun with you this morning. So I want you to guess what it is that we're making right here. We're going to see as it progresses throughout the entire morning show and later over on our Fox 28 News at 7. So make sure you stay with us. We've got more about 3D printers to discuss. For now, we're covering the corridor in Iowa City. Josh Scheinblum, CBS 2 News.
All right, Josh, we're very curious to see what you're going to print up this morning.
That's right. Well, chances are when someone asks you to print something for them, they don't really mean in 3 dimensions.
But in the corridor, there is one man who is helping to change that notion. This morning, Josh Scheinblum is live in Iowa City to show us just what he's doing. This is pretty interesting, Josh.
Oh yeah, we are taking a trip into the future for what I thought was technology that would have been at least hundreds and hundreds of years away. But it is a reality here in the corridor thanks to Mike Webb, a 3D printer builder. Mike, this is absolutely incredible here. How does this machine work?
Well, you know, it may sound simple, but it's basically a glue gun attached to a robot. And a little example here, we've all seen this before in arts class. Glue gun, right? So basically this is on a robotic arm, and it's going to go along and lay out a two-dimensional layer. Then the platform's going to drop, and it's going to put another layer on top of that, and eventually you have a 3D object. Now, instead of burning glue sticks like this, we have a much smaller glue gun, and we're actually burning this, which is not all that different than what you put in a weed whacker. A little more
Plastic.
yeah, a little more consistently made, but this is just plastic. This is PLA, which is a cornstarch-based plastic.
Very cool. And how does this computer work with this? I mean, where do you scan the objects like you would at a printer at home?
Well, this object is one that I already had. This is from Thingiverse.com. And if you go on there and poke around, maybe you'll see something similar looking. Try and guess a little bit. If you want to do your own 3D scan, you can actually, one of the best resources we have is a Kinect from the Xbox 360. They put a lot of effort into making that Kinect. I've never played one, but you go in there and it shows you right away a 3D model of yourself in the video game. So a lot of robotics engineers have used that to make highly accurate 3D models. Maybe one of these days we could make a little caricature of you.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you think that would be cool to make, yourself, what if I tell you that this printer here actually was building parts of itself already? And how many printers has this thing built?
I would estimate this this machine has probably made about 10 other printers. So I don't know if you want to think of it as a granddaddy printer or great-great-granddaddy printer, because some of those printers have probably gone on to make others.
It's pretty incredible, my friends, and I want you guys to take a look here before we go at what it is we could be making, because over on our Facebook page, we posted a video of this printer here in action, and if you think you have an idea of what we're creating here on CBS 2 this morning, we want you to submit your guesses. For now, we're covering the corridor in Iowa City. Josh Scheinblum, CBS 2 News.
I hope it's a bobblehead of Josh.
Could be.
That's what I'd like to see. I'm kind of curious. All right, we're very excited about this, Josh. We are. All right, and if you would like to learn more about 3D, able to print objects in 3D was once something out of science fiction.
That's right, but right here in the corridor, it is really becoming a reality as we speak. This morning, Josh Scheinblum is live in Iowa City, and he's showing off how a 3D printer works. Good morning, Josh.
We fired this printer off just before 5 o'clock this morning, and the object that we downloaded from the internet and put into the printer is starting to really come together here. Now, the process may sound simple, but really it's actually kind of complicated when you think about it, because if you can dream it, if you can think of an object that you would like to create with this thing, whether it be medical equipment, whether it be a toy, a statue, even your own 3D printer, the printer will be able to create it. And here in Iowa City, Michael Weber is a 3D printer builder and is literally changing the game here. Now Mike, we talked about a number of applications that can be used for this printer. Where do you see this going in the next few years?
Oh, I think it's going to be used for education. I think one of the primary uses for this are going to get it in schools. And what it does is when I was in school, we learned CAD. Well, that was it. You could print out a picture. Well, now you can learn CAD, and you can actually make a three-dimensional object directly.
Do you think there'll be a day where this will be in every single home, where you wouldn't, it'll be as common as having an iPhone. It'll be as common as having a laptop.
I do. The technology is really exploding right now. I think that realistically, we're looking at even 5 to 10 years, this could be very common.
And one thing I want to make sure that all of our viewers who join us each half hour know is that this printer has made part of itself. Explain to me how that happened and some of those parts here in it, that it's created on its own.
Well, essentially, this is just hardware store metal. These aluminum rods are from Menards, actually. And the designer of this drew the printer up in CAD, designed all these pieces that are in silver right now, and printed those on a parent printer. So essentially, you can actually make a better printer each time. These pieces here, which are going to be the new head, these are actually going to be slightly higher quality than the previous generation. So each time it makes itself, you have the possibility to improve quality.
I think Captain Kirk would be very proud, sir. And coming from one trip, you hope to another.
Absolutely.
That's a big compliment there. And all right, now we want to get your ideas at home, by the way, over on Facebook. You can check out the video we posted. But what we could be making here, and we have a couple of suggestions. Peter thought it could be a coffee cup. Joshua thought it could be a candy dish. We want to hear from you. It's about 2/3 of the way done. So any moment now it'll be completed, and we'll reveal that for you live here on the air on CBS 2 this morning. For now, we're covering the corridor in Iowa City. Josh Scheinblum, CBS 2 News.
All right, Josh. Well, we think Peter might have a good thing going there with the owl, but we'll have to wait to print something. They don't mean in 3 dimensions.
But in the corridor, there is one man who is kind of changing that whole notion. This morning, Josh Scheinblum is live in Iowa City to show us just how this is done. Josh, good morning.
You know, if you thought that the world of Star Wars, the world of Star Trek was something that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, well, it turns out that that world is unfolding right here in the corridor. We're live this morning in Iowa City, where we're talking about 3D printers. I want to show you guys an image here. It looks like a simple picture of a statue of an owl that we found here online. But thanks to an advanced computer program designed by Mike Weber and a 3D printer that he built, all he had to do was download this image of an owl, put it inside his printer, and rather than it print out on a piece of paper, we have an owl in all 3 dimensions. And if you get a look up close there, you can even make out the wings, the individual feathers, the eyes, the pupils, the beak, everything. It really is amazing. Mike, we just printed this owl here. How do you get it off, and what's the next step?
Well, you know, this is true plastic, and it melts right under the deck, so the answer is you get it off very carefully. I've been doing this for some time. I find the pocket knife works well, but do not try this at home.
You know, it's funny you mentioned don't try this at home, because I think that people are predicting this is going to be something in every home. Are you saying that technology is not quite there yet?
Well, I'm just saying you shouldn't necessarily use such a sharp knife.
Oh, how cool
There you
is
go.
that? This. Guys, I wish you could hold this in your hand for yourself. Seeing an image on a computer and then printed out in front of you before your very eyes really doesn't get grasped until you get to hold it in your hands. And Mike, feels very solid to me here.
It's really strong. This plastic's amazing. This is actually only 2/3 of a millimeter thick. I have a partial one that we did earlier, and you can actually see it's hollow inside and how thin these walls are. But this plastic, this is really durable stuff, you know. If I wanted to, I could make that solid. It'd be virtually indestructible, but that would take a long time to print, so.
Absolutely, and it really is incredible. My friends, coming up here in our next half hour, we're going to make some more stuff here, so make sure you stay with us and explain how all this technology works. For now, we're covering the core in Iowa City. Josh Scheimlin, Fox 28 News at 7.
That is really, really amazing, Josh. Just impressive.
Great stuff.
This morning, Josh Scheinblum is live in Iowa City to show us how he's doing that. Josh, good morning. This is fascinating this morning.
Good morning to you, my friends. Yeah, it really is fascinating, and the only way to describe it is to actually go and see it for yourself. Now, all the more amazing, this machine right here is actually starting the process to create another 3D printer. That's right, this robot is actually replicating itself, and it's all possible thanks to people like Mike Webb. Now, Mike, you acquired this printer from somebody else 4 months ago. It was nowhere near the working order that it is now. What is it able to do that it wasn't able to do before?
Oh, it's just a lot more accurate, you know. Pieces coming out are just like you draw them up in CAD, basically.
And for people at home who don't know, CAD-Key, I think it was what it was called when I was in school.
Absolutely.
It's a software program that you can design three-dimensional objects.
Yep, it's a pretty common engineering tool, and almost everyone uses it. Even architects now are drawing in that. So
now, if you don't have CAD, though, one of the practical applications for this is it's almost like downloading an MP3. We went online this morning. We found a simple computer program to download a owl, and live here on The Morning, we created an owl, and now it's creating itself. What are the limits? What can this thing not create, or what will it not be able to create in the future?
Well, you know, there's actually a lot of talk about people making guns, 3D printed guns, and that's kind of a silly issue because they're just plastic. And so everyone wants to talk about that. You can't really do it. I think the most exciting thing for this is all these robotics engineers out there like myself are now able to dream up a robot, print out the body, put the guts in it, and, you know, off it goes.
Well, before we go, will we be able to get to a point where you could make a gun?
It's possible. You can do 3D printing with metal right now, but it's really expensive and it's mail order only. So,
well, in any case, I think everybody has been fascinated this morning. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. My friends, we're going to continue to watch this robot recreate itself here. For now, we're covering the corridor in Iowa City. Josh Scheimlin, Fox 28 News at 7.
We want to know when you can do the Star Trek thing. You can say, we want a hot fudge sundae, and it just spits that out, Josh.
I think we would all like that. That would truly be a great day in human history.
It would. All right. Thank you, Josh. Very interesting this morning. And it's